Baby boy, you're back on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like your dad embarrassing you
Nope.
in front of millions of people. Typical college cafeteria. What do you think of the foods that were served overall and what kids were eating?
It was just like mac and cheese, chicken nuggets, and soda.
You were rattled your first year, but it kind of broke my heart a little bit of like seeing you shrink yourself to conform.
It's some of the least tolerant people I've really ever been around.
What advice would you have to somebody, maybe they're going into high school, maybe they're going to college, of living in alignment with their goals?
I think consistency is...
Baby boy, you're back on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like your dad embarrassing you
Nope.
in front of millions of people.
It's great.
You're okay with it, right?
Yep.
All right, love you.
Love you.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. You return guests. There's a small handful of an elite club of return guests, and you, my son, are return guests. Last time we talked about kind of parenting, kids of all ages. Like, what was it like being the parent and a kid as someone that's like obviously is in functional medicine and wellness, does this for a living, but also brings this into home. And what was it like to be the kid experiencing that, and a kid that was historically a pickier eater, we could say. Mm-hmm. I think you called it, and people still quote that episode and say a tan diet.
Yep.
So you're a professional at tan dieting.
I think I should write a book about it.
Yeah, the tan diet. I wouldn't advise it, but yeah. So it's okay. So we talk about that. It was the good, the bad, and the ugly of like, all right, we're not making this to be like, oh, look at this, highlight reel of all this glamorous, easy. It wasn't. Like, it was, and I could, as a parent, wish I could go back and do things differently. And I know, I don't know how you feel about it, but like, we learn as we go along. This is life. So I wanted to show what real life looks like, and a lot of experience with telehealth patients, with families, and making it's a pro tip for families and picky eaters. So anyways, but I wanted to have you back on because there's been significant life change since then. And because we knew college, the first time we recorded, college is around the corner. Now the first year is already gone, which I can't believe how fast that went. So freshman year done. And now you're going into the sophomore year, where you're in the sophomore year now, and how I want to talk about the being thrown into the world of college, because the little background context: you were homeschooled for most of your school career. My wife homeschooled Solomon for a lot. How many years? Like basically from second grade on.
Third grade on. Yeah.
Okay. And so there was that sort of context too. Is like he was home. We could like you were only eating at home basically, unless you were at your friends or at a restaurant or something like that. So that was a big change from that to a big massive university and all of that. So I wanted to talk about that. Maybe can we just jump right in?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to set the stage for everybody. I kind of want to go over mental health, physical health, spiritual health, all of that with college. So anybody that's in college right now that maybe wants some pro tips. Actually, over the years, I've had lots of telehealth patients in college and navigate this. So as a dad, I have this experience, but also how do we make healthy living that loves you back, practical and realistic on a campus? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I want so the impetus, the intention for today's conversation. And then if you're not a parent or not a young adult that's in college, this is for anybody navigating a busy lifestyle, really.
Or like living independently, yeah.
Yeah, right. How do you make this work if you're new to eating healthy? So on a physical health perspective, because there's a lot to cover this here. Okay, so you ate a certain way at home, more or less. And even though, you loved the tan diet, it was better options at home.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't want to speak for you. How was that different whenever you, let's just say, August, like August of like this time last year, fall time, or like late summer, early fall, you're at the first year at college. What was that like on a physical health perspective when it comes to food and how you treated your body, all that stuff?
Well, remember when I was first moving into college, I was super anxious about it, and I was so stressed out, and I was having this gut reaction. My gut health was the worst it ever was. I wasn't even able. Could eat like one meal. I literally couldn't even keep solids down. I was sick all the time. Everything was making me sick.
So
and tea was the only thing I could drink. That was like the only thing that I could ingest in my system.
Yeah. So it wasn't happening every day, but it was happening coming up to going to college freshman year. Yeah, you had digestive issues. I assumed it was stress,
and that's
but we
what
didn't
I
know
think
for
it was.
we didn't know for sure because you were having some. Because Solomon is sensitive to gluten and dairy. Those are the two main ones, which is for a lot of people. Conventional gluten, conventional dairy. And we will talk about the sort of the better for you options because those do work for you. And everybody's different, so they may not work for you. But when we want to give practical tips here. Anyways, okay, so you had these bad GI flare-ups around that time. Did you think at that time that it was stress, or did you think there was something you ate?
I thought it was something I ate originally, but I wasn't really eating anything bad, so I didn't know what it was. And I was just, I really was. I felt sick like every single day, and especially like on the move-in days. The only thing, I would drink peppermint tea, and that would soothe my stomach. And that was like pretty much the only thing I could keep down. It was really bad. And it was super stressful. And I was like, I hope college isn't going to be like this. And then it ended up turning out to be fine.
So then you get me. I show up on campus, guns blazing, because I'm like, what are the options for him? He can only have this. I'm sure they loved me. But you know what? As far as parents, maniacal parents, like overbearing parents, if you will, when it comes to food, I probably not that bad. But I wanted to make sure you were set up for success of like, okay, this is up to you. You can do what you want. But here are the options that they're telling me. And I wasn't that impressed, honestly. I need, like, does this exist? A wellness-centered, like, college, university out there it doesn't have to be perfect, but, like, better options. But theirs is more centered not around health, per se, but about the allergies, because we have such an epidemic rise of young people that have allergies. So it's all centered around life-threatening allergies, which, of course, we need to be addressing that. But, like, overall, okay, how about just prevention and nutrient density and just some good foods? What did you think of that, the options there at the college?
In the beginning, it was stressful, and it was a lot, and it didn't seem like there were many options. And I like kind of had to learn and talk to the different, like, the food workers and be like, can I get just plain meat? Can I get just rice? And sometimes they would be like, yeah. Other times they would be like, no. Or sometimes they would have to go in the back and cook it for me, that's like a pain, because if you're in between classes and you're trying to eat, waiting 20 minutes for them to cook you grilled chicken, you don't have time for that. You have to go do that. So it wasn't as accommodating as I thought it was going to be, but I did kind of navigate it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So you're having these digestive issues. You thought maybe it was food, but then you had this sort of big uncertainty, right? This, like, I've never been in college. I've never lived out of state. Never lived outside of, mom and dad's home. Then you get there. How quickly after did you realize, oh, college wasn't stressful, you actually love it, and the stress levels came down, that you realized, oh, these GI flare-ups were stress, not food?
I think it took a couple weeks, and I went and got acupuncture done, and that really helped a lot with the stress. And I just started doing things that I knew would help me de-stress. I did more meditations. I did Peloton meditations. I moved my body more. But what really helped was, like, establishing a friend group, hanging out with people consistently, and just getting through those first couple classes, because that's what I was really nervous about. And then once I got my bearings and I had a community, it really helped me to de-stress. And I still had to eat pretty clean before I could, like, add other things. Like, I was having to dab my burger patties to get the oil out, because if I ate it just when they cooked it with all the oil on it, I would get sick. But if I dabbed it and squeezed it out, which is, like, it looked super weird because I'm just sitting at the lunch table, like, squeezing these patties out, and but I had to do it to, like, be able to eat.
Making your burger patties a little bit leaner.
Yeah.
Dabbing them like a sponge.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so it was even like fatty cuts of meat or greasy foods, even if it was like a burger, a plain burger.
Like literally just a meat patty. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's, classic, a pile of just meat patties. You've been doing that for years because you didn't have dairy, you couldn't have dairy or gluten. So it was like he would go to anywhere that had a burger, and that's typically what I would do anyways as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're a fun time. But the okay, so you had to. What did your friends think whenever you were like dabbing your patties?
Well, a couple of them were really confused, and others of them were like kind of were doing the same thing. They were either trying to like gain muscle mass, or they were trying to cut muscle mass or cut weight so that they could like be more defined or whatever. So they got the deal. Like they were also stacking up veggies and stacking up chicken breasts and just eating all of that.
So what you're saying is you hang out, you found a group of friends, and they're largely just like meatheads.
Yeah.
Just interested into the fitness, which is all right.
Eating for fitness. That's what a lot of people my age do, is eat for fitness.
Yeah, which probably isn't everybody, but again, that's probably better than the standard American diet. Certainly, if that's their goal, they're going to land on some good things that love them back. Okay, so was this anything else from a food standpoint? Okay, let's just say a typical college cafeteria. What do you think overall? Because obviously universities, colleges want performance. They want focus. They want good, academic prestige on the success of their students. And if you're not in college, if you have a kid that's in high school, elementary school, all schools want that, right? What do you think of the foods that were served overall and what kids were eating?
It's not good. Like if I was to like make a buffet for people to eat at, and I wanted them to be cognitively performing well, I wanted them to be learning, I wanted them to be able to even like it affects your sleep, it affects the way you wake up in the morning, it affects all of that. And if you're eating crap, you're sleeping like crap, and you're trying to learn and focus on stuff, that's counterintuitive. Colleges are not helping the kids be better at learning and at getting good grades and stuff. So that was really frustrating to see, because it was like you had mac and cheese, chicken nuggets, French fries, burgers, and then they had like one space a week where they would have like a tacos or like Asian cuisine or salmon or something like that, which like you could pick and choose some stuff that was good, but like sometimes it would just be like wings or whatever. And then they have an ice cream bar and soda machines, and these kids are just eating like a lot of the girls too were eating. It was just like mac and cheese, chicken nuggets, and soda. And that was like most of my friends that were girls, that was their diet. And a lot of the guys too. The guys that I was friends with were more that fitness type of thing. So they were like trying to count their macros or whatever. But it really was like super counterintuitive for what colleges are trying to get. They're responsible for the learning and the health of the next generation, and they're really failing. Yeah.
There's a health and wellness spectrum as far as parents go, right? I have many friends in the functional medicine, wellness, nutrition space. Look, they're to the level where I have friends that have moved part-time to different states to have a place for their kid to eat off campus at home and like live off campus at like, let's just say a studio apartment or a house or whatever, because eating is so like there's not a lot of healthy options at all at college. My wife and I chose not to go that far, where it's like, and that's not accessible or feasible for most people anyways, to like pick up their life and move. I get it. Some people can do that. Or get an apartment, I guess. Some schools don't let you do that your freshman year at all. But that is that is something that I think later on. I haven't talked to you about this, but like I would be up for exploring. Like instead of paying for the student housing on campus, it's like in the meal plan and the options there's limitations. Is to have better agency and flexibility. Is like, okay, if it's possible, and that's what I've recommended to telehealth patients when they're the upperclassmen that have access to living off campus. There is a lot more flexibility and like agency flexibility that we have with foods. But what do you think of that?
I think I think that that's definitely like I could have totally done that this year. Now I have an apartment style dorm where I have a kitchen and I can cook for myself. But even I just wanted to go back to the food at the colleges. Like even if you do eat healthy, you're eating like mystery meat burger patties and wherever the heck they're getting their chicken and rice from.
Yeah, I mean,
fried in who knows what. So like even if you're eating vegetables, they're probably GMO. They're probably really bad. And so, like, even the good is bad, which is
they're not organic.
Super frustrating.
They're not organic. And I'm a pragmatist, right? I'm a pragmatist through and through with patients and with my kids and my family. It's like things don't have to be perfect. I think you do the best you can.
Yes, 100%.
I don't want people to be obsessive or, maniacal about this. I want them to be pragmatic, stressing about the things that is worse than the thing sometimes. And but with that said, if you have access to it, and when you know better, you do better, like Maya Angelou said, right? So I get it. Like to me, I would prefer you to eat off campus if we're talking about cumulatively over time. If it's a random meal here and there, who cares? But it's like, okay, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on campus. You're right. It's like the seed oils, the non-organic, who knows what they're doing. It's not the best because they're not really thinking the way that a lot of us think within our space. Okay, so food pro tips. Let's just say you don't live off campus. You are on a meal plan at school. What are some things that you're doing? How do you make the best of a not ideal situation?
Food-wise, you're saying?
Yeah, food-wise. Let's stick with that.
I was pretty much what my meals consisted of is they always had white rice. They always had the burger patties, and they always had the chicken breast. And that was pretty much my meals. And I would have chicken breast, like 3 burger patties, and rice, and sometimes French fries, and that was pretty much my whole meal. And then at home, I would, or back in my dorm, I would have applesauce. I would have sometimes I would get smoothies from what's it called? Organics.
Sun Life Organics.
Sun Life Organics, which they had one close to where I was. And that was pretty much it. Like I took supplements to try and supplement anything that I could, and that was pretty much it. Yeah.
And I Uber eated a few times for you.
Yeah, True Foods.
Yeah, True Food Kitchen. Shout out to TFK. They're not that far from their campus, so I could get him True Food Kitchen, which is like eating out, but like there's no seed oils, it's organic options, like whole food based things. And we could go to Whole Foods too. It's like we stocked up your fridge, your mini. Yes. It was a mini fridge, tiny dorm,
super small, shared with another
person. And tiny little mini fridge. But let's talk about some of the things we did. That was great tips that you said what you did with the calf, as you call it.
The calf.
The calf. You have to know about the calf, guys. You don't know about the calf, you better learn about the calf. But if you're not in the cafeteria, what are some of the things that we did in the dorm? Because I thought we got pretty dang creative.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of, because I didn't have like a stove, so it was a lot of like microwave foods if I wanted like an actual meal.
May not be ideal, but we rolled with it.
Yeah, and I was getting like okay stuff that I could microwave.
Yeah, we got some organic things that were frozen that you could heat up easily in the microwave.
And then I had good quality snacks. I had my raisins, my nuts, the dried peas. I love those things.
And like other people could do dried fruit. You don't love fruit, but you could do dried fruit.
Applesauces.
Abuse
Go-Go Squeezes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And tea.
Tea was great.
So I got organic teas. We got
coffee.
A kettle. A kettle you could heat up water, pour it in. We got a water filter. I don't want to give all the things away.
I got a Berkey. It was a water filtration system, and I had healthy things in my mini fridge. I had like kombucha. I had the green juice. I love Liquid Death. I had Liquid Death in there.
That's water for people.
Yeah, and
well-branded water.
Yes, great. Yeah, yeah, and that was like pretty much. I lived off of the mini fridge, and I had like a good snack setup, and it was hard though, because like for main meals, like you can get microwave stuff, but like you need protein still. So I would go and get the chicken breasts or the burger patties.
But like set up other ideas like jerky, like beef jerky. You get grass-fed beef jerky.
I did actually get jerky. Yeah.
Yeah. You could get like avocado oil chips.
Yeah.
versus like seed oil chips. Again,
Masa chips.
these are like college quote unquote snack foods that you're going to be there and you have it on hand, and it's like, okay, you're not depending on the calf for these snacks. You can have it at the dorm. And what else do we have snack wise? Like carbonated water.
Yeah.
Which you mentioned Liquid Death, but
Yeah.
they've still and sparkling, and different brands out there that have water. Mountain Valley, yeah. And anything else? Like supplements. We stocked. Go through what were you taking? You had me stock you throughout the.
I'm gonna need your
semester.
help on these, but I for cognitive health, I was taking some great supplements. I was taking alpha GPC. I was taking L-theanine. I was taking when I would get stressed out, there's these Calm gummies. I forget what the brand is. Is it Ollie? Is that the brand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was taking those. Those really help when you're stressed out.
That's not. I mean, I didn't give you that, but
no, but I got those myself. And
he
they were
was
really
sold
helpful.
at Target. He was sold by the marketing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like some things he does on his own, which cool. Like people, I want people. He knows what to do, and he can do whatever he wants beyond that. But yeah, the gummies. I'm not the biggest fan of gummies, to be honest with you. But
magnesium, the
rest of the stuff I facilitated.
Yeah, magnesium powder.
Magnesium threonate for the brain. It's actually our magnesium from the art of being well. Yep. And what else?
What were the other stuff?
L-theanine and alpha GPC are basically neurotropic, like effects for focus. You're really. I say really into it makes it sound trite, but you are fascinated by neuroscience. And that's why I think plus with school, with cognitive focus, that's merit to wanting to perform the best you can academically and leveraging the benefits of neurotropics, like alpha GPC, like L-theanine, which is helpful. Methylated B vitamins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the methylated B vitamin complex and the vitamin D3, K2.
And then the stuff for my gut as well. I forget.
Yeah, so then because he had these GI flares, I brought in like temporary. You're not always on them, right?
No, I just take them whenever I'm in a spike or whatever.
Yeah. So the things like L-glutamine, marshmallow root, DGL, different enzymes, aloe. There's a formula at drwillcole.com. We have it's called gut feelings, and there's a brain support and feelings like gut support. So that formula is what he took. So yeah, those are some of the supplements. I mean, you had them all there.
And omega. I took
omega-3 fatty. Yeah. I think that's it.
That was pretty much it.
And it's more or less basic. I mean, some people maybe think.
D3K2.
Yes,
that was another one. Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty core stuff. Food is first, and you did the best you could. But let's talk about. All right, you have you never had full-fledged independence like that.
There was some cheating when it came to foods.
I don't love that. I don't want to see it as like moralistic in that way, but
I will say it for myself. It was
going off of foods that loved you back.
It was finite choices. There's infinite choices, which is like, this is going to be an investment infinitely for myself. And then there are finite choices where I can do something. Feels good in a moment, feels really bad in the next moment.
That's a good life lesson for everybody, regardless of your age. And I love the way that you put it. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's just say, what was it? I know what it was.
It was Cane's. It was...
Dang Cane's.
It's really
Cane's
good.
will get you. So it's fried chicken, basically.
Fried chicken... Sometimes, it was mainly just fried chicken.
It mainly was just fried chicken. You went on some fried chicken benders.
Yeah, and I felt really bad afterwards. So
like every single time.
If gluten is a struggle for you, don't do it. You don't want to do it. It's not good. It never feels good. It never feels good as much as it tastes good.
Avoiding whatever. And then for somebody else, it's maybe not gluten, it's something else.
Could be dairy.
I
did have dairy. I actually, honestly, this year I've done a really good job at like cutting out things like ice cream because it just wasn't good for me. And I really avoided that stuff.
Well, you know what I say is that avoiding something that doesn't love you back is not restrictive. It's not boring. It's self-respect. And you have to kind of sometimes go off and like figure that out for yourself to know it on a deep level. This is a form of self-respect and self-compassion, not one of being obsessive or restrictive or shame-based at all.
Yeah.
And that's the paradigm shift that you did understand it to a certain degree living and like growing up with me. But like you fully learn that, you had to say, okay, nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm responsible solely for myself. And there's no safety nets in that way, right? You know, with me, of course, there's safety nets, but you know, on a day-to-day basis, you're making these choices for yourself. That's a lesson people need to learn. And I see telehealth patients learn it later on, right? It's like, this aha moment. It's, oh, wow, it's not this list of do's or don'ts. I can do whatever the heck I want. But what's the form of self-love and self-respect, and what is a form of self-sabotage and self-harm in some ways?
Yeah, I think it's important to experiment, because I wasn't like, if I do this, I'm a bad person. If I do this, this is bad. I was just doing it to see what happened, because I had never had canes before. Let me try canes. What does canes feel like? Oh, it feels okay. And then if I have more, it doesn't feel so okay. And then I'm on the toilet for a long time. So it's like,
and we talked about this the last time you were here, I think, because you have experimented with gluten throughout your life. You flirted with gluten.
I flirted.
But I'm glad that's largely what you're experimenting with is gluten and dairy, and not the other things that people can be doing at college. So, okay. Do you feel like now you've had enough aha moments that you won't go back to that conventional fried chicken?
For sure. I've found better alternatives. I've found they have great fried chicken that's gluten-free at True Food Kitchen. It's just, the problem is it's less convenient to go to True Food Kitchen. It takes a while. Right. You have to go in or you have to order it, whereas you just drive through. Cane's is always right there. It's just right there waving at you.
Hence why you're in school, in the business school, and you want to actually innovate this. This is a passion of yours, like innovate better for you fast food options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
because there is a blank space in the market for
it's
that.
Important. Yeah, it's to make it convenient. It's just not there.
Yeah, well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so because let me say, I love a fried chicken. Like we ate. You grew up on fried chicken. It's just better options. It's fried in a good oil. It's using good flour. It's all of that stuff. So I'm not against fried chicken. It's just how it's prepared that's the issue. Okay, so anything else on a physical health standpoint? The gym was never a problem for you. You hit the gym. You get right there. I mean, you talk about the cliched freshman 15. That was not a problem for you. If anything, you bulked up even more because you had more time on your hands to just
work out.
Yeah.
But even then, like, you're tired in between classes, and when schedule gets really busy because you're working and you have classes, it's hard to work out sometimes. And like in the winter when you're cold and sad and you don't want to work out, like you have to do that sometimes, and you have to push yourself to do that. But you were talking about like the things that like other people experiment with. Like I did see a lot of nicotine. Everyone uses nicotine. Like literally everybody. Drinking. Everyone is drinking. Everyone's doing that. Everyone's smoking weed. That's like something that's really prevalent. And I don't know, like, is nicotine something that's good? I don't know. And people are like saying, oh, it's neuroprotective. Like all that whole conversation around those things.
Yeah, like microdosing pure nicotine.
Yeah.
It's different than what people are doing.
Yeah.
And I think it can be certainly a crutch and people can overdo it. I know people within the wellness space very much overdo it. So yeah, you're right. There's science that shows pure nicotine better. It's a cognitive protector. It's neuroprotective. It's decreased Alzheimer's, increased oxygenation, blood flow, all that stuff can be true. But it's definitely a double-edged sword that I've seen people really overdo it. And it's the pure form of it. But it's just they're depending on it just to get through the day, constantly taking the sprays or the pouches and doing it all day long. I don't know if that's like, I would not be recommending that. Like have something else. Have L-theanine. Have a magnesium.
Have creatine.
Have a lion's mane. Have a higher dose creatine. Yeah, way better options than nicotine.
Yeah,
even in its glossed biohacker version, it's still not something I would recommend.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, on a daily consistent basis. Okay. How was that? Like this sort of clash of life, like a frequency, that's how I put it. Like higher frequency, lower frequency, that sort of constant drinking, partying, drugs, marijuana. What's your thought of living in that world with different people with different choices?
for like there are people that really have a problem with it and they do it excessively, like the people who every weekend do a case race, which is where you drink, try and finish, see how fast you can finish a 20 case of beers. Like those people who do that, that's like excessive, that's crazy. And that was like, I feel really bad for your brain, because you're gonna, when you're 40, it's not gonna be good.
No.
And then I saw the people who would drink occasionally, and it was fine. And it was like, okay, well, that's not something I want to do for myself, but whatever. And same thing with marijuana. People who really overdid it, did it every day. People who did it occasionally, whatever. And so I don't know. I saw it because I don't like to like mess with anything that's gonna. I've seen it destroy people's lives. I haven't seen gluten really destroy people's lives as much as I've seen alcohol do that. So
there's still time.
Yeah, but I don't know. I definitely observed a lot of the vibrational people, but like people I was friends with, I kept certain people closer and certain people more at a distance based on how they aligned with my goals. And sometimes I messed that up, and I had people who didn't really align with my goals that were super close, and then kind of readjusted that. So I don't know. I think there's nothing I really regret that I did, but it all served a lesson.
Yeah. Sometimes, it is like the larger lesson of how are you going to do your life? What's in alignment with what you want? And yeah, that is a good life lessons for anybody of all ages. That's something that friend circles, habits.
It's only bad if you don't learn from it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so let's dive into mental health. And I would say overall, like a few thoughts that I have here is like the mental. How was your first year from a mental health standpoint?
I started off really good, and then I got tired, and then I got better. It was kind of just like a wave pattern, really, throughout the entirety of college. Mm-hmm. It was just up and down and up and down. But I kind of started to notice that pattern and just like kind of zoom out on it and just see that like if you take waves and you zoom it out a little bit, it looks like a straight line, so you can understand it better. And that's kind of how I viewed it in my head, was like, okay, sometimes things are going to be great, sometimes I'm going to be really tired, not going to feel like going to class, not going to feel like working out, not going to feel like whatever the thing is. And then I knew a better thing was going to come, and I just kind of kept following that wave, because that's the wave of life, and I got more and more stable. And by the end of it, I was excited to go back the next year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then you mentioned some practical tips here that anybody can do, but certainly, look, if you're in college, like be consistent with these things. Like you may be hitting the gym, but how are you toning that vagus nerve, that resting, digesting? How are you regulating your nervous system? So you mentioned some things that you did was meditation. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Peloton meditation. Any specific one that you like or instructor?
What's his name?
Ross
Rayburn.
Yeah, Ross Rayburn. I know that
he's my favorite. Yeah.
And
I did the morning ones in the morning. Sometimes I would do like the peace meditations or the gratitude meditations. And some of the habits that I had at home kind of went away because I had to change my lifestyle and I had to adapt my time. So like I used to gratitude journal. I didn't really do that as much, but I meditated more. And being around people is really important, because a lot of the people I saw that dropped out of college were people who isolated themselves and they were alone. Mm-hmm. And I think that was really, I think having a community is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So community of people that are maybe not necessarily fully like-minded, but people that will lift you up, edify you.
Yeah, because I've seen people also
community.
take that to an extreme thing, like trying to find the perfect friends, and then they still are just as lonely as the people who don't want friends.
Yeah, not perfect
because they
friends.
want it to be perfect. Like it'll refine itself over time, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to have people with different perspectives, and you don't have to. I'm just saying, like from a frequency, don't limit your exposure to people that will bring you down.
100%.
That will like have you compromise your goals. That will kind of be added stress or toxicity or drama in your life. I think that those are things that you should limit as much as possible.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Yeah.
Wise words, my son. Okay. So this is tied into mental health, and I wanted to get your hot take on this.
Okay.
You were a independent, free-thinking kid. that devoured books, devoured health podcasts and self-help podcasts, spiritual podcasts. You were homeschooled. You were not sort of pushed through that system of like orthodox thinking. Let's just say that. We kind of let you be your own person in that way. And because of who I am to being your dad, you ate a certain way. You did life a different way. You had EMF blockers growing up.
Yeah.
You had EMF blocking phone cases. You had whatever. And even something as superficial as like just your style. You have amazing style, but you don't necessarily fit into the cliched. We got that at Coachella, right? So we're not some nerds up in here, but like we're like, well, right, you're not maybe conforming to like what a typical stereotypical white kid in suburbia is supposed to be. And you navigated that through life growing up. It's like, yeah, you're different than the kids in the neighborhood. But you always were like confident in who you were, I would say. But you were rattled. You were rattled your first year, and what I saw as your dad is, again, I was letting it be like you were figuring things out, but it kind of broke my heart a little bit of like seeing you shrink yourself to conform to this world that says you have to do it this right way as like a hetero white guy. You have to be this specific small lane. And first of all, I thought that the young generation was so progressive and so open-minded. I didn't see that. I saw a lot of judgment and bullying in college.
It's some of the least tolerant people I've really ever been around, and in whatever respective group it is. No one young is tolerant. They claim that, but
they're super tribal.
They're tribal, and they're only tolerant to what they're supposed to be tolerant to,
which is not tolerance.
Yeah, it's not tolerance for all. It's tolerance for some.
No, it's just very allegiance to their tribe.
Yeah. And so I saw that, but what we're talking about with like the dressing differently,
or let's just say this is something so stupid, but it's like the EMF you wanted. And I didn't say get this EMF phone case.
I wanted it. Yes,
wanted the EMF blocking phone case based on your research
and having.
So I'm not a controlling dad. I'm not. I want to provide. Was I? No. Like, okay, but I definitely gave you my opinion.
And you pointed out stuff which I didn't want at the time necessarily, but sometimes we need things that we don't want.
Hey, you're preaching. It's the life lesson. But the reality is, you have, as a parent, you have to make it age appropriate, right? I'm not talking to my kids about EMFs at like 6, but like as they age, you can read the proverbial room.
But it wasn't even from you. Like you weren't telling me to get this EMF phone case. I did a podcast with Luke Story, and he's telling me about EMF phone cases.
So Solomon has a podcast, which it's called
Listen Now.
It's called Wax On, Wax Off.
Wax On, Wax Off.
So it's about all like the Karate Kid reference of like being a young grasshopper and learning from the world, learning from people that are older, different generations, different people. Again, tolerance, diversity of thought, good life lessons. People that are different than you, and learning from them. You had a guest who's Luke Story is a friend of mine. He went on his podcast, and that's where you were talking to him about EMF phone cases.
Yeah, because I had never heard about it before, and I mean, technology is everywhere. That's another thing we could talk about is like the fact that I don't know where the Wi-Fi routers in my dorms are, but
we had that. We have that. We missed that, but we dealt with where we mitigated it as much as we could.
Yes.
We did the best we could with the access and options we had to mitigate EMFs by, what did we put? Somavedic. What did we put?
We had, I
few
wear
different things.
The necklace.
Oh yeah, so we have like quantum, like Leela Quantum, Somavedic. There's
the bags.
The Tesla Rock bags. So I did as much as I could with devices that have beneficial effect at harmonizing EMF or mitigating it to some degree. But yeah, I mean, you're in a building that's just like, you can't control everything.
Yeah.
And we also not to go back, sorry guys, but another thing we did from air quality standpoint, I got you an air filter.
Yes.
You're thinking this tiny little dorm was pretty wellnessed out.
Yeah.
And the air filter was Air Doctor.
Yeah.
Air Doctor. Shout out to Air Doctor that loaned you that too.
Yeah.
Anything? Okay, so going back to the conforming sort of tolerance, conforming in a world that's different, which is a good life lesson for anybody. Not to always bring it back to telehealth patients too, because this can be applicable to any age. Is my point of bringing this up. Is I see people afraid of eating differently, afraid of doing things differently, afraid of doing their wellness practice, whatever it is, around friends and family, in fear of being judged. Mm-hmm. I felt like you went through that too.
Yeah. It was strategic adaptations to myself. I wasn't changing the core of who I was. I was trying to make relationships with people and be friends with people and like get myself a community, and there had to be some changes for that. But now, like, I use my phone case again. I dress the way I want to. It was just for a time, and I don't regret anything, really.
So you feel like you had to like blend in a way, but then you got your confidence
to get
and you're
to get my bearings. And then once I got my bearings,
but do you feel like you had to do that? Like you had to learn the lesson 100%. You
Yes.
had, from a lesson standpoint, you had to learn that lesson of who you wanted to be and not to shrink yourself for other people's approval. You learned that lesson and you needed to go through that. But do you feel in retrospect you had to do that? That meaning that your friends would have still been your friends if you, like the true people that in your life that get you, they didn't need you to conform. Am I wrong?
yeah, I don't think so, but I honestly don't know. It's just a thing it never happened. So I don't really know the outcome of what it would have been, but I mean, where I'm at now, I don't really regret any of it though. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it was for the better. I would always say, be who you are, and don't, if people are not going to like you for who you are. And that's the true test, is when I decided to be like, okay, screw this, I'm going to be who I am. And I was, the people that loved me didn't run away, and they didn't walk away, and they didn't leave me. So if you have friends in your life or people in your life that are going to leave because you want to be who you want to be, then those are not people you want around. That's the kind of distinction I would make, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not to get like digress us into political stuff, because it's not about that. But I would say most college campuses are more left-leaning, progressive-minded campuses, and I use the word progressive in quotes because it's they almost like need a rebrand, because they're not really progressive in the sense of tolerant and allowing for diversity in the form of diversity of thought, right? Did you find that to be, like, I'm bringing this up only because you all know that listen to the podcast, I am loosely aligned. I don't work for the government, but I, like, as someone that's been in functional medicine for 15 years, running the telehealth clinic, I am excited about many of the MAHA initiatives, and this is not political for me. This is bipartisan, a human issue. It's something that I've always talked about. It just happens to be aligning with HHS, FDA, NIH, and these are people that I know that are behind the scenes and at the helm of it that are really talking about things like food quality and nutrient density and chronic disease and soil health, all this stuff. All right. So you're my son, and kind of you were with me at the White House when we were there at HHS. Like you came with me for a lot of these things. So talking about this stuff on campus, how is that? How does that go down?
Well, I think it's an important thing to talk about because it is such a real thing. Because there's a lot of people who, they're not even like far right-wing conservative people. They're just like centrists, or they like people like Bobby Kennedy, or they maybe don't agree with all of the things that the left has to say. And they go to college and they're surrounded by extremist, progressive people who, they're not progressive. It's not. It's
they
intolerant.
need a rebrand.
Yeah, it's intolerant.
Because being
people.
progressive is a good thing. Like being in your life, like advancing, like the true essence of the word, being progressive is a great thing. Just like being like even the whole term, which it's so
like liberal.
Like, well, yeah, liberal. I mean, that's why I heard someone say this recently. But like a lot of the quote unquote conservatives, or are just called conservatives because the left has gone so far left. It's like, okay, the centrist, the moderate. If you call people conservative, that's anything right of a Marxist. If that's conservative, it's what are we conserving? We're conserving liberal ideas, freedom of speech, diversity of thought, tolerance, compassion.
Yeah. Like I used to be, if I took my like even just from 2 years ago, what I thought things politically, conservatives would have thought I was progressive. Now progressives have gone so far that I'm now conservative. I've stayed the same. Mm-hmm. They just keep going towards whatever we're going to. Yeah. So it was a lot, and I thought it would be fine. I thought we could have open discourse, open discussion, and some professors were great. They disagreed with me, but they were great about it, and they were cool about it, and they actually were like, no, you should not be silenced. Maybe your classmates want you to not write about certain things, not talk about certain things. But my professors were like, you should still be able to do that. And this is what college is about. College is about like these exchanges of different ideas. That's what makes like a learning environment good. Because if you all believe the same thing, then you're not learning anything. You're just like this echo chamber of yes men.
Yeah.
And that's what I found a lot of it.
It's like, that's honestly what I think a lot of that orthodoxy wants. It is that groupthink. It is this sort of mantra of this is the tribe. This is the approved talking points, which again, the reason why I'm bringing it up on The Art of Being Well is because it's mental health, societal health is intrinsically connected to physical health, and diversity of thought is essential. Just like we need good diversity in our microbiome, we need diversity of ideas for robust societal and economic health.
Yeah.
And
I felt repressed. Like I felt like I had to silence myself amongst like, these aren't people that I'm friends with, because I had friends who disagreed with me politically, who agreed with me, all different kinds of people in my friend group, and they were all cool about it. But other people who didn't know me were really dogmatic, really aggressive, really angry. And I had seen people that I knew who like talked about something to someone, and then they just get completely and utterly canceled by everyone. And like on the chat forum for the school, everyone's just ripping on this person, and it's like that's a scary thing to see. And you're like, well, if something gets out about me, is my entire reputation at this school going to be ruined?
Yeah.
And so that's like, and that's not just this school. This school is like a Christian university. So imagine what like a mainstream big college is like. It's probably worse.
Yeah. But yeah, despite it being a Christian university, I would still is pretty left.
Yeah.
Leaning. So it's like doesn't even mean much anymore. Like there's a sort of Christian undertone to it, but you have to seek it out, because it's really, there's a lot of quote unquote private Christian universities that were Christian at one point, but aren't necessarily like, but you're right. It's compared to a state big, secular university, it probably is even more extreme in what's on campus today. Okay. So let's talk about spiritual health. Good segue there. Obviously, it's intersected with that mental health and the physical health, right? Mental health is physical health, and spiritual health, it's all one and the same. But what are some things that you leaned into from a spiritual health standpoint, or maybe what you didn't do that you found your way back to that first year?
It was hard to find a church. I did a lot of church hopping and looking for a church that I wanted to go to. And it took a while. It took like pretty much the first semester to find it. And then once I found it, I loved it. And I would go there mostly every Sunday. And they had stuff on campus where you could go to like the chapels or whatever. Like they had different things throughout the week. But it is kind of hard because it's something that like isn't necessarily the most motivating thing to do until you need it, and then you really desperately need it. But if you, I don't know, it's kind of a easy thing to put to the wayside. But I found a balance with it, and I felt good towards the end of the year figuring that out.
Yeah. So if like someone goes to like a corporate place of worship or a spiritual, you mentioned community, and that's really where I find the benefit to be for people, is like having a positive community of people is, and a connection time, a time of like stillness and sacredness is a good thing.
High vibrational people.
Yeah, exactly. So you found a good, positive community there. And I get it, like getting up early on a Sunday morning when you're staying up too late, which is another thing I guess we could talk about. Like you were going to bed too late, but you had to learn that. There's lessons you have to learn. Like how do you want to feel the next morning? And, but you still showed up and did it. Like even when you stayed up too late on Saturday night, and it was probably because I was lovingly nudging you and saying, no, show up even when it's difficult, and you can choose to sleep in or to stay up late or not, but be consistent with the things that will nourish you and feed you. So let's talk about that real quick because it's tied into mental health and spiritual health and physical health. Sleep.
That's probably the biggest thing that gets neglected with all college students. Is sleep.
You had a rough relationship with sleep, I'd say, the first semester.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you want to go hang out with your friends. You want to go do stuff. You want to go see the sights. You want to go out to parties and hang out. And you're up late. I was doing gigs, too, with my band. So I'm out late doing that. It was all... I mean, it was fun. I had a lot of fun, but I didn't feel good the next morning.
Yeah, I'm going to get a little closer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in a band. He's an Enneagram 8, 7. No. Sorry. What am I saying? You're Enneagram 3. What am I saying? I know you're an Enneagram 8. But you have, I don't know if like 7, 8, do 3s go to 7 or anything?
No.
Do you know?
No.
I feel like what am I saying? I'm not an Enneagram expert, but you're Enneagram 3. He's like in that sort of high performance achiever.
Yeah.
But I would say you have this sort of, let's just say it this way, it had nothing to do with the Enneagram. You are just a very extroverted person. And you have
FOMO.
A bad case of FOMO. And it's like, community's good, but if there was something going on, you had to be there. You could not miss it. Do you feel like you still will have that this year?
I mean, there will definitely be probably times where I stay up a little too late and because I'm hanging out with friends. But I don't regret any of it. I just I now know how to be strategic with it and choose when, and also growing the muscle of saying no to stuff.
Yes.
And just being like,
say no more often.
It's kind of nice to be like, hey guys, I can't. I have to go to bed.
That has to be tough for you.
It's really hard.
Like the idea of you saying, no, I'm going to rest. No, I'm going to study. No, I'm going to chill. I'm going to stay back at the dorm. It seems so like unlike you even to do it. But are you prepared to do that when your body needs it?
I had to find people to look up to, like different like podcasters or whoever to look up to that say no to stuff, and then be like, okay, I'm gonna do what they do because I want to be like them, and they do that, and I had to like outsource it in a way.
Interesting. So like for me, I'm used to being a weirdo. So it's like saying no is easy for me. Being the odd man out, easy for me. This is a good point that I do see with telehealth patients too. It's like saying no about the food you're afraid of offending, saying no about the thing, the hangouts. Like letting no be a complete sentence, letting no be your multivitamin and use it consistently it's a muscle that you have to flex. Who were the podcasters that you looked up to that were taught or lived out know when your body needs it, know when you need it on a mental or physical health standpoint?
Some of the people that I went to for specifically like discipline and that stuff, I really like Chris Williamson a lot. He helped me out through college a ton.
Yeah.
Who else did I really like? I like Gary Brecka a lot. I like listening to what he has to say. I like listening to Andrew Huberman for health stuff, for neuroscience. I'm minoring in neuroscience now. Mm-hmm. Rogan for discipline. I love him. Yeah, those were kind of like my big four.
Yeah, and for discipline, living life on your own terms.
Discipline, health, and then just like information. Yeah,
being okay with being different.
Yeah,
right. We have a funny Gary Brecka story, real fast. I won't digress. We were both Solomon and I were. You're gonna tell it. Tell it. You're the guy.
So we're going to the White House. We get to the White House, like this first gate where you have to like get all your stuff checked to like make. Like they put it through
security.
Security. And we get there.
I mean, we sound like totally like, I mean, if we had a nickel for every time we were at the White House, it was one time. Guys. Don't get freaked out about this.
Yeah, because I'm getting to go to the White House and I'm freaking out. And then we walk in there and this guy that I've been listening to for like the entire year is like, "Hi, I'm Gary." I'm like, "What?" So then he's talking to my dad about something, and my dad was trying to do the phone tap thing with him to exchange contacts.
Gary, I can't do the phone tap.
And it wasn't working, so I was like, I'll do it, and I did it. And then he was like, just send me your dad's contact. So I sent him my dad's contact, not looking at how it was sending, but it sent as dad. And then he was like, all right, dad. And then, I don't know, it was funny.
He walked up to me, he's like, Gary Brecka walks up and he says, Will, you're in my phone as dad. So the rest of the day, and even now, I'll be like, how you doing? Love, Dad. When we text. Yeah. So the phone tap, I need help with the iPhone. You literally It's not automatic to me.
No, you just literally unlock your phone and you.
Yeah,
hold it
Mark
there.
Hyman had it, dude, and I didn't work. So I don't know. Maybe I need to do some iPhone update. I don't care enough, I guess, to know, but I need to figure this out. Okay, I think I covered all the main things that I want to talk about. So I guess what advice would you have to somebody? Maybe they're going into high school. Maybe they're going to college. Maybe they're just starting a new job, right? That has nothing to do with school. Maybe they're in their friend group. What advice do you have to them of living in alignment with their goals? I think that's sort of the ethos of today's conversation.
I think consistency is really important. You have to water the plant every single day. And there are days that it's easy to water the plant and days that it's hard to. But you have to give the plant sunlight and water. And you are the plant. You are the plant. And you have to care for yourself. And if you find other people, other plants that help you and help you to grow, and they are like, you guys are transferring nutrients to each other, like I think like the mycelium network, like underground. But then there will be other people who are like weeds and they take from you, and all they do is take from you. And those people, you need to cut those people out and you need to move away from those people. But don't shame yourself if you get into friendships and relationships with people who are like the weeds, because you're just figuring this out. People come, people go. But I think that's the most important thing, is just do it consistently and don't have shame when you make a mistake, because the only thing that's a mistake is if you don't learn from it.
Wise words, my son. I love you so much. Where do people go? Tell everybody about your podcast.
Okay, it's called Wax On, Wax Off Podcast. It's out now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that. So go there. Can the link be in the bio?
Yeah, we'll put the link in the bio and the show notes. Yeah, all the things.
Yep. I'm on Instagram. If you want to just keep up with the podcast or anything, go there. Yeah.
Type in Solomon Cole.
With 2 E's at the end. And that's
Okay.
it. Sick.
Love you, man.
Love you.